Hey folks, thanks for coming back to join me. As I promised before, I'm going to do Huli chicken this morning. I've got one of the chickens prepared and seasoned. I've got another one in front of me. I'm going to show you how to cut it up properly. Noah Glanville is the one that showed me this on his website, pitbarrelcooker.com. He has a whole array of video recipes, and that will teach you how to do this properly. If you don't do it like Noah says, and I'm going to show you that when we get out to the pit outside, you're probably not going to get the results that you want. So anyway, hang with me for a minute and I'll be right back at you. Okay folks, here we are. We're back at my cutting table. This is actually where I was standing right before, but I've got a pretty big full-size chicken here that I bought from Costco. I'm going to show you the easiest way to cut this in half. Then we're going to season it. We're going to wrap it up in foil to keep it safe. Then we're going to fire up the pit barrel cooker, and then I'm going to show you how to manage it, and I hope you enjoy it. So here's the easiest way to do this. Cut this with this is basically a bread knife, and you can cut right through easily, just like that. Open it up. Always turn it around. And then the best way to cut the backbone out is to take and just saw back and forth until it comes apart, just about like that. I'm going to clean this board off, and then we're going to season it up for you. Back at you folks. Here's the season I've already made up, and I'll explain to you how I make this. And I really put quite a bit of this on here. This is the Huli rub that Russ at Smoky Ribs, actually he posted the recipe on his website, and I'll post it too when I figure out how to do it. And you put it on there fairly heavily. Then I put this in a glass dish, and then I do the other side. And I'm going to let this sit a little bit so this rub can kind of soak into it, and then I'm going to do the other side. Here we go. Hey folks, SteenSmokeHouse here. We're outside now. I'm going to show you how to light the chimney starter. I'm going to show you the pit barrel cooker. We're going to get ready to put our seasoned and cut up Huli chicken in there. I'm trying to get some light so it's not so difficult to see. I'm going to have to pan around and kind of do some things. I didn't really know that this camera doesn't pause. If you're filming video, when you hit the record button, it just stops. So when you do that, you start a whole nother recording. So I'm going to keep this kind of together so I can capture a couple little aspects of it so you really understand how this thing works. So I'm going to get on the other side of the camera right now and kind of pan around and show you the pit right here and staying right with you. Down there is the pit barrel cooker. I've got the charcoal basket loaded with what you're supposed to do is load it with level with Kingsford Blue Label charcoal, just like I did. And then what I do is I count out 40, exactly 40 briquettes, and then I put them in the chimney starter. The chimney starter I found is the easiest way to start a nice clean fire. It doesn't render any chemicals to your cook, and it works 100% of the time. I've actually bought 15 boxes of these Weber chimney starters, and they're little cubes that you put in there and light, and I'm going to light it for you right now. And then once you do that, you just wait for the charcoal to burn out, which it does. It burns up and forms a nice ash on it anyway. And then once it forms its ash on it, you put the charcoal basket back in the pit barrel cooker and place it in there. You then pour the lit coals on top of it, and then you let it spread around and start burning. And once you do that, then you're ready to put the meat in. And to put the meat in, it's merely a matter of putting the 2 pieces of rebar that you see there through the little holes there and let it roll. It'll take about probably 2.5 hours for the chicken to come to temp. I've done this recipe a number of times. Big success every time. The first year I used it every single weekend except for one, and the weekends that it rained, I found a way to work it in there when it didn't rain. So mine's nicely seasoned. It's got a bunch of really beautiful seasoning inside of it. In a couple minutes, I'm going to dump the ashes, or excuse me, dump the charcoal in the pit barrel, and then let it do its work. We'll put the, I've already hung the chicken on the hooks, and we'll get ready to put it on there. And after that, it's just let it go and do its own thing. Thanks. Bye. All right. So, you see that fog coming up? That's the magic. If you look inside there, I've always put a foil liner inside. It helps me a lot when it cools down, because this thing will get, it'll keep heat for a very long time. It'll be hot probably tomorrow morning. What I do is I'll let it cool off completely, because I made the mistake of not one time, and then I'll wrap up the foil in there like a taco, and then I'll throw it in the trash can. This is where we set our meat and so forth. They provide a hook to kind of grab onto the hooks that go into the pit barrel. In a second, I'm going to put the rebar in, and then I'm going to put the meat on, and then we're going to let it run and do its own thing. Thanks. This is what you got once you put the meat on. I'm going to put the lid on and let it roll. I'll be talking to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye. As what I like to call myself as a pit master, seeing the needle go into the red on the thermometer is kind of cool. It's in the grill mode. It'll stay there pretty much until I take it off. I've had this thing sit overnight with hot coals in it, and the next morning they're still hot. As you see the smoke coming out of the rebar, all that smoke's bathing the meat in goodness. That's where all the magic happens. When we get done with this, I'm going to show you how to make the glaze. All right, we're probably an hour into this cook. Thermometer is still about where it was when I put the meat in, and it'll remain there until I take the meat out. I don't like to take the lid off while it's cooking, but you know what? I think I just will anyway. This is what it looks like inside the pit barrel cooker. There's a great, nice fog forming around the meat. It's really pretty interesting. You could put probably 4 more chicken halves in here. You can put 8 racks of ribs in there, which I've done. I think 6 was the most, and it's really a fascinating product. I'm really happy with it. I love it. It kind of expanded my cooking to the next level and allowed me to branch out to get one of these. So we've got pineapple mango juice making the glaze, rice vinegar making the glaze, soy sauce making the glaze, ketchup with no high fructose corn syrup, which I don't know. A couple years ago I developed a sensitivity to anything that had corn in it. I could eat a tortilla chip, a Frito, and have a headache that was blowing the top of my head off. And then the rub I made was paprika, garlic powder granulated, of course, ground ginger, cayenne pepper, celery salt, onion powder, cumin, and then about a tablespoon of kosher salt and fresh ground pepper, and mix that all together, and that's what the rub was made out of. So I'm kind of showing you a kind of a summary, then you can like look out on your phone. The only reason I chose the pineapple mango juice, I couldn't find pineapple juice that didn't have high fructose corn syrup in it. So what I used was what I found. And thank gosh, French's makes a ketchup without high fructose corn syrup. So that's what I have. So anyway, the pit barrel cooker's steaming away, and I'll be in touch with you in a few. Thank you. That is our Huli sauce, gently rendering on my stove. I'm going to stir it from time to time, then I'm going to reduce the heat, let it kind of reduce down, and make it into something we can baste. And then when I get that far, I'll be pulling the chicken off, and in the next hour, hour and a half, I'm going to baste it a couple times. Okay, this is the finished product. It's succulent and perfectly done. It's got a nice crust on it. It's got kind of a glaze on it. And I'm going to cut it up and then I'll show it to you then. Thank you. Okay folks, this is the chicken I've been cooking all day. You can see the crust and just the character of it all the way across. This is pit barrel cooker stuff, and this is not hard at all to cook. Probably took me about 2 or 3 hours. Basted it with Huli sauce, and I'm really happy with the way it came out. If you tasted this, it just falls off the bone. It's delicious stuff. Thanks for watching. SteenSmokeHouse. Come back at me again. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. This is my first effort at trying to make a video while I'm cooking. I would appreciate you subscribing. I've got a lot of videos I'm working on right now, and I hope you'll give me a thumbs up, and thanks so much for your time. SteenSmokeHouse signing off. Goodbye.